need to hire him as my hype man. Alright, well, thank you all for being here today. I appreciate the Yelm Chamber of Commerce for hosting the State of the City. I moved to Yelm when I was 5 years old. My parents had just bought a restaurant in Rainier. At the time it was called Joey's, now it's called Sonia's. I grew up in Yelm attending the schools from Prairie Elementary to Yelm High School. I was part of the group of students that went to Washington, D.C. to see President Clinton way back in the day, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm so grateful that I can give back something to the community that's given me so much in life and helped to mold me into the man that I am today. When I say it's my honor to be the mayor of Yelm, my hometown, I mean that with all my heart. I'm a product of Yelm 100%. It's my pleasure to tell you that the state of the city is strong. When I moved to Yelm in the early 90s, we had a population of around 2,000. Since then, we've been in the top 10 fastest growing cities in Washington State, and today we have a little over 10,000 inside our city limits. This doesn't include the 30 or so thousand people just outside our city limits that shop at our stores, attend our schools, and contribute to our community. I very much consider them a part of the city as well. Now, there have been some growing pains along the way as the city's had to deal with expanding and updating our infrastructure to accommodate our growth. While I always seem to agree with the decisions made by past councils and mayors, they did hand off to me a pretty solid foundation. The city of Yelm is in good financial shape. Standard & Poor's Global Bond Ratings raised its long-term rating to AA- for the city of Yelm during the most recent financial review. This is an excellent high-grade rating for a smaller city. And our city coffers, we have maintained very strong reserves during the past 3 years, during the past 3 audited fiscal years. And despite having, I'm just gonna move on, because I wrote the speech like probably a couple hours before this, so I hadn't had a chance to actually read through it too much, so there's gonna be some grammatical errors, so I'm just gonna move through it if that happens too much. Apologize in advance. And we're about to see explosion growth though, just so we secure new water rights. We only have about a few weeks left until everything is official. We're already seeing a huge lineup of businesses and residential permits just ready for us to give them the green light to build. And speaking of permits, we've already seen a large increase of building permit revenue with new growth of nearly 7%. And that's over the past 3 years. Our sales tax revenue is also on the up and up with an increase of 34.5% during that same time period. I also want to highlight our real estate excise tax REIT revenue that has seen a 50% increase since 2019. We are on secure financial footing and are poised to have a really big year in 2022. We have a lot of projects coming up, and the biggest is the SR 510 Yelm Loop, or the Yelm Bypass as some people might call it. This fully funded project is in the second and final phase, with construction starting in 2023 and looking to be completed by early 2025. The Yelm Loop will run from one end of town to the other and increase freight mobility, decrease traffic in our downtown core, and provide new opportunities for economic development along this path. I'm delighted to see this project come to fruition and to be the mayor that sees its completion due to the vision and hard work of previous city councils and mayors. Other exciting projects include Yelm's first ever off-leash dog park, which we are hoping to have completed by the end of this year. On-site construction has already commenced at the Roten Road location across the street from our Public Works building. This is an amenity that people of Yelm have been wanting for a while and will really benefit the folks who have dogs but live in apartments, duplexes, or multiplexes, and housing where there just isn't a yard big enough for these dogs to get their exercise. The last project I want to draw attention to is the Mosman Avenue Improvement Project. This project extends Mosman through what used to be the 17th hole of the golf course and now hooks up to Longmire Street. It will connect the folks in the neighborhoods behind the Medical Plaza with a more direct route to 507. It will help to improve traffic flow through downtown corridor by providing an alternate route, as well as improve walkability with more sidewalks and safer routes to schools. Besides the projects, I want to update folks on what we're doing to change the culture at City Hall and our modernization efforts. Our first big staffing decision was to appoint Police Chief Stansel as acting city administrator. He's helped bring stability to City Hall with his decades of service and experience working for Yelm, as well as his leadership. We have implemented changes that will help us retain and attract good employees and will allow us to compete with some of the bigger cities around us. We We are recognizing and rewarding our employees who do a good job for our community with programs such as Employee of the Quarter and Employee of the Year. We are also adjusting our work schedules that allow for employees to utilize a 4-10 schedule. Those are working 4-hour days, working 10-hour days, 4 days of the week with Fridays off. The other one is probably better. Yeah, it's a little more fun. And that's something those employees really appreciate, and they've told us. For the people of Yelp, we're also adjusting hours to make it more convenient for the working person by opening up earlier and closing later. And it's something we've already seen a positive impact with. People are using it. We're making our budget process more transparent and fair to organizations who are seeking public funding for their events, projects, and other activities that benefit the people of Yelp. In public works, we're moving away from using door hangers to let people know they have late utility payments, and instead we'll utilize texting and other modern communications that are more accessible and convenient for customers. And will also save city money and labor costs from them physically hanging these notices. There's also much more that we're doing as a city that I'm so proud of, but I'm going to move on and talk about our partnerships. We're engaging with groups and organizations that we traditionally haven't, as well as improving our current relationships. I do appreciate and applaud our Foster's attempts to engage with groups such as the Jewish community and starting a new Yelp tradition surrounding Hanukkah. I intend to expand on his efforts, and I've already reached out to organizations like the Korean Consulate in Seattle to explore the possibility of a sister city program where we would have some economic gain. We're making some good progress on that. We're also relooking at our current sister city of Ireland, in Ferns, Ireland, and reaching out to see if we can spur some ingenuity and how we can enhance that relationship that's laid dormant for decades. I'm really excited about enhancing our partnerships with the Skolite Tribe. The Skolite Tribe in the city of Yelp will be meeting next week to discuss these partnerships and how we can really help each other thrive. I've also met with tons of local organizations and here in the city of Yelp and enjoyed those fruitful discussions. Some of those we're advancing on and kind of going off the cuff here. We're going to be talking with the Medical Plaza, and I know something that's important for the elderly population, as well as people in general here, is to have an urgent care center in Yelp, 24 hours. And I don't know if it's possible, but we're going to have those conversations and see if we can have them. And lastly, I understand there's been division in our city, which I can understand since change is never easy. We've grown tremendously and are now doing things differently than we once have. I also know there are some folks that don't necessarily like me. Well, I don't care if you supported me in the past or not. I don't care if you like me now. This isn't about me, it's Joe DePinto. This is about Yelp. It's about our community, the place we call home. It's where the vast majority of us can find common ground. It's our love for Yelp and our own unique perspectives. We all want what's best for the city. And it's an amazing community that so many of us have cherished. And I intend to work with everyone and anyone that needs to chat with me for city business or whatever. I'm here for you 100%. I don't care either way. But let's leave the past in the past and move forward together. We're poised for some large economic growth. We're professionalizing our local government. We're offering more services to our citizens. We're taking some calculated risks to get us to that next level. Bill's about to do some big things. I'm looking forward to working with everyone to make it happen. Thank you.
Fantastic.